You belong on every ground your feet grace, so don't ever feel out of place. Take up space and belong. This earth is your birthplace. Okay, so to end my 7 days of Christmas movie reviews challenge, I'm going to do Carry On. And this one right here was my favorite one because it's not the typical Christmas movie. It just happened to happen on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. That's all I needed. It had the Christmas spirit in it a little bit. Um, just great movie. It was a thriller. It wasn't romance. But let me get into this review. So it starts off with these men in this like grow house or whatever doing a deal. I guess the guy created something for another guy, which this guy's name has never come up in the movie. He's like a mystery man because terrorist. Okay, so the guy ends up getting killed. He gets poisoned by the thing that they made, the toxin or whatever. Ends up dying. Then his nephew comes in running in or whatever to his aid and gets shot in the head. And so the mystery guy goes to the car that had the toxin in it, puts this ribbon on it, and it's a tracking device, I think, and leaves, goes to the airport, and like him and these men are at the airport trying to carry out this terrorist attack, basically. So it goes to the main character, who's Ethan. He wakes up on Christmas Eve talking to his girlfriend Nora about their unborn. Nora found out that she was pregnant, and they're still like dealing with the shock of it all and being excited to be parents. And of course, stuff like that makes you start thinking about the future. So they're talking about, how things are now and like how they want things to be in the future. Um, when the baby comes or whatever, she tells him she wants him to consider applying for the police academy again. That's what she said she wanted for Christmas. After the police academy thing, they go to work. Both of them work at the airport. Um, I don't know the positions. When they get to work, like they're talking, and she says something about going to Tahiti like on Christmas, and he promises that he would take her. Um, he would take her to Tahiti. On his way to like clock in, he bumps into the man from the first scene, um, and rushes past him. He doesn't really pay him no attention, just rushes past him. Also, I need to add that the reason why she told him she wanted him to apply to the police academy again is because she said she felt like he was happiest when he was doing that work. He doesn't seem happy now, and she wants him to be happy. So his friend Jason and him are talking after the guy Eddie told him congratulations on the baby, and he asked Jason, did he tell everybody? And he's like, yeah, because you need people to support you and to celebrate you and all of this stuff. And they started talking about the police academy thing, and Jason agrees with Nora that he should apply again because he said he was telling him basically that you've worked here for 3 years. I've only been here 1 year, and I've gotten more promotions than you. You're just coasting. Like, you're not trying. You're not happy, which means you're not happy. So because they're talking about that and he's trying to deny like the police academy thing, he doesn't really want to do it. And it doesn't really go deep into why he doesn't want to do it, but he doesn't want to do it for a reason. And So he asked his boss for a promotion, and the man said no. But he gives him his phone and everything, and he reads the speech or whatever, and he's like, "You don't really want to promote, like you don't even care about this job. I'm not promoting you. You don't show any enthusiasm. I don't think that you want to be here or whatever." So he's like, he tries to convince him, like, I do want to be here. I do want better. And you're right, I was coasting. But now I'm awake. I'm about to be a father. I need more money. So please give me a chance. So the guy gives him an opportunity after Jason tells him that he could man his post. Like they could switch posts. So he could show that he was capable of doing more. Okay. So the mystery guy pulls up to the airport, and a guy that's with him hacks in. The guy that's with him, who is also the assassin, he hacks into the cameras. He ends up stealing this truck from this other guy. He had him tied up in the back of the truck while he was driving it. And he was helping the guy on the inside. Okay. So, sorry. They sent somebody to break into Jason's house because Jason was the one who was supposed to be on the line, on the front lines or whatever. But he ends up switching with Ethan. So they see this, and the man is in Jason's house looking at his family, and he's asking them, do I have clearance to take the family hostage or whatever? And the guy who's on surveillance, he tells the head man that Jason was not on the front lines and that Ethan was there. So they start going into Ethan's background and figuring out what they could get on him to make him cooperate with them. And the thing that they got was Nora, who is pregnant with his child. So Ethan is sitting at the station, and this lady gets her belongings. There's this earpiece in the bucket, and she's like, this doesn't belong to me. And so he gets it, and he's about to put it in lost and found, but he gets a text message to his phone that tells him to cooperate. He basically wasn't with it at first, so they had to threaten to kill Nora. While he's talking to the guy, he ends up using his cell phone to dial 911, but he hangs up when the guy threatens to kill Nora. Then he tries to send a text, but they make him cancel it. So everything he's trying to do to evade these guys is not working, and they're just making him more terrified or whatever. So the guy makes contact with him, and he's basically telling him, after a while, I have this man who is going to come through with this bag, and you're going to let him through. You're not going to flag him. You're going to let him through. And at first, Ethan is not with it, but then, Nora's life in danger, so he has to do what he has to do. He's like using his information, asking him questions about stuff or whatever, kind of like getting to know him or whatever, so he can get to him easily. So this man comes through with this bag, and Ethan decides to stop him randomly and calls Lionel, who is a Leo, I don't know what that is, over there to check, and he writes whatever it is, a little ticket or whatever, and they use the flashlight to read it. And when Lionel read it was basically telling him that there's a terrorist, they're trying to force me to do stuff, go to Nora, make sure she's safe, and then go to the boss and tell him what's going on. So, but the guy peeped the game, and he ends up walking toward Lionel, bumping into him and injecting him with the nerve, the little toxin that the man made for him. makes it seem like he had a heart attack. Okay. So everybody is sad that Lionel is dead, and the boss moves Ethan from the front lines and gives Jason back his station. Also, while after the guy kills Lionel, Ethan sees his face, so he knows how he looks and everything. But the man doesn't care because he's in control. But so the guy tells him, you better fix this and you better fix it quick, or I'm going to kill Jason. So Ethan leaves and goes into the the little cafe place that they got for the employees. And he fixed him a cup of coffee, put some alcohol in it, switched out their coffee cups so Jason could get in trouble. I don't even remember how he got caught, because I don't remember Ethan saying nothing to the boss or nothing like that. And I'm also guessing that Jason used to be an alcoholic and he's been clean for a long time. After like he had his kids, he was clean. So he has a history of this, and everybody knows. So the boss ends up firing Jason and putting Ethan back in the spot. So the guy who's transporting the carry-on finally comes through, and Ethan lets him through, but then he stops him and the guy think that he's stopping him to flag his bag, but he stops him because he leaves a ticket inside the thing, and he gives him the ticket. But really, the guy left that ticket because he already had another ticket. Okay? That comes up later on. Okay. So after Ethan lets the guy go through, he gets sick to his stomach and he runs to the bathroom and he's throwing up. The main guy follows him into the bathroom, and Ethan is like asking him questions and stuff about what's going on, asking him he's a terrorist. He says he's not a terrorist because terrorists do things for religious reasons, political reasons, stuff like that. He's just a guy that makes things happen, whatever. Then he tells Ethan that they're planning to kill the people on a plane with this toxin. It's a A234 nerve agent called Novichok 7. He gave him a lot of information. I was confused as to why he was giving him all of that information when everything hasn't cleared yet. Like, the bag hasn't gone on the plane yet. The plane hasn't gone off. So why are you telling him that? He takes Ethan's cell phone. And they leave out. Ethan goes to have lunch with Nora, but he's so distracted. And the guy is still talking in his ear, telling him, stop looking suspicious. Talk to her, engage her in conversation or whatever. Nora is on his back about the police academy thing. He's stressed out about the situation he's going through. So he mistakenly, he says, stop telling me what to do. But he's talking to the guy in his ear, but Nora doesn't know that and thinks that he's talking to her. So she backs off and was like, we can talk about it later. Okay. This ain't over. So while all of this is going on, the officers are okay. The officers are following up the incident that happened with the man at the grow house. It caught a fire because the man set it on fire, and they're trying to figure out what's going on. So the man was wearing a wire. He was planning to flip on the people who he was working with that made the toxin. However, the mystery man killed him and his nephew. The only thing the police could recover was the watch with the bug in it, and she takes it to one of the agents to try to figure out what's on it. And really, it's a lot of muffling, but she listens to it until she understands something. The Novichok 7 is what she heard. So she does her research and she sees that it's a nerve agent and that it kills people, makes it seem like they had a heart attack. So she calls Homeland Security, they send a officer because the guy that is in control of the cameras and stuff at the airport, he's hearing everything. He heard the phone call that she made to Homeland Security. So they send another guy to intercept. However, she does not know that. She thinks that the guy that they sent is actually Homeland Security. So the officer and the Homeland Security guy follows a lead to Ethan since he called 911 earlier that day and hung up. And they thought that these incidents could be related. The Homeland Security guy is not really buying it, of course, because he's fake. But he's like, I'll go with you to the airport to check it out. So then it goes back to Ethan. So the airport gets a call from the officers or Homeland Security people telling them to shut the lines off. They took all of the TSA agents in his room and they give them these little things where they flag certain people that they want them to check thoroughly. Ethan erases one name out of it and puts Mateo's name in it, the guy who was carrying the case, so they can flag him. He's hiding from the camera, so they don't know what he did. But then they realize that Mateo's name is on the thing and that it had to be Ethan that did it. And so after he does this, he goes to Nora and tries to warn her about what's going on. But the guy in the van, the assassin guy, puts, the red beam or whatever on Nora's head, and Ethan sees it. And the guy in his ear is telling him to back off. If you tell her anything, she's going to get killed. So Nora, while they're talking, Nora tells her that Jason's wife called and told her what he did to Jason. And she's like, why would you do that? Like, it's not like you. Why would you do that? And the guy tells him, do not engage in conversation with her, walk away. So he backs up and he walks away. And this makes her upset. So he goes back into the bathroom, throwing up again. No, he goes back into the bathroom and a man comes in there behind him and they end up getting into a fight. They tussling. Ethan takes his gun and he's about to shoot him. And when he does that, the guy arms the bomb thing and he tells Ethan, this was only going to kill 250 people. Now 10,000 people are going to die or whatever. And so he's telling Ethan, like, you're not going to shoot me, but you better go to that room and disarm the weapon before all of these people die. So Ethan ends up running to the little room that his boss pulled Mateo in to go and disarm. He goes in there, he goes in there and he points the gun at his boss's head, but he doesn't have it in him to shoot. So Mateo takes a pin and stabs the man in the neck. And the man ends up bleeding out and dying. Mateo says he's sorry, but they got his husband and he trying to do everything he can to get him back. So Ethan is like, okay, so you're like me. While Ethan is working on disarming the weapon, one of his other co-workers comes to the door and he's trying to get in. The guy uses the bags to cover up the boss that they killed before they open the door. Ethan disarms the weapon. Then he goes to open the door. The man tells him that he's been being suspicious and he's going to find out what happened, and then he leaves. So Ethan and the guy takes this the little trolley, the little things that they carry the bags on, puts the man on the bag, put the bags on top of him, puts the man on the thing, puts the bag on top of him to hide him, and they take him to where they take all of the suitcases and stuff. So while they're walking in there, that the mystery man is in Mateo's ear. He tells Mateo to kill Ethan. So when Mateo is about to pull the trigger, Ethan sees him with the gun to his head through like this mirror thing, and so he blocks it. The two of them end up tussling over the gun. He wrecks the little trolley thing, and they tussle some more. So after Ethan disarms the case, it goes back to the cop, and she gets a phone call from one of her agents telling her that the Homeland Security people are on their way or whatever, or they're coming to the office or whatever. And he calls the name of the man that's supposed to be coming. He's not there yet, but the man that she's with used the real Homeland Security person's name, and she realizes that the man is also working with the men at the airport. So she ends up pulling a gun on him. He starts driving fast. They start fighting over the wheel and stuff. I'm not gonna lie, when they did that scene was so dope. The way that they shot that scene was so dope to me. I was getting excited, like, oh my god, look how they shot the scene. It was just so dope to me. But anyway, they end up wrecking, and she seems to be knocked out, and he isn't. He tries to strangle her to death, but she ends up shooting him in the head, getting out, and then she gets somebody's car and goes to the airport. Then it goes back to Ethan and Mateo, and this is when they are tussling over the case or whatever, and then the gun ends up backfiring and kills Mateo. Ethan was trying to warn Mateo that if he kept shooting a gun, it was going to backfire on him, but he wouldn't listen because he's desperate. He's trying to save his husband. He doesn't really care what he has to do at this point. He's trying to do everything, but that ends up getting him killed. If he would have worked with Ethan, he would have been fine, but he didn't. So the mystery guy goes down there where Mateo and Ethan is when he realizes that Mateo is dead, and he goes to retrieve the bag, but Ethan ends up switching it out. And he sends a message to Nora through Eddie, telling Eddie what was going on and to get Nora out of there, telling Nora the van of the guy who is trying to kill her, so they'll know where the danger was coming from. And Eddie shows the text to Nora, but at first they don't believe it because Ethan has been acting weird, but then they see the van pull up and the guy get out and he's marching toward them, so they start running. Eddie sends Nora ahead of him and tells her, keep going, I got this. And as soon as he turned around and tried to talk to that man, he stabbed him and kept it moving. So Nora is running from the guy or whatever. Yeah, Nora is running from the guy, and she's hiding behind these cars and stuff. So it goes back to the cop who finally gets to the airport, and then she is escorted to where Ethan is. He tells her, she tries to handcuff him or whatever. He tells her he has to go find Nora. And he knocks her down before she's able to put the cuff on his other wrist. And he runs. And Ethan used to run track, so this nigga has been running around this airport all freaking day. So before he leaves, he gives the cop a description of the guy who is like calling the shots when it comes to like the weapon or whatever. Ethan ends up finding Nora right before the guy finds her, and the guy is pointing a gun at them, so Ethan turns around so he can take the bullet for her, but the guy ends up getting shot by Mateo's husband. Mateo's husband shot. Ethan and Nora go over to the man, and he asks if Mateo is okay. Ethan tells him no, he's dead. After finding Ethan and them going, he shoots Ethan. I think was this the first time he shot him? He shoots Ethan, but Ethan like hides or whatever so he can switch out the cases or whatever, the suitcases. And then he leaves the suitcase in the middle of the aisle and he hides underneath the little thing that has the suitcases coming down off of it. And so the guy takes the bag and he goes to board the plane and he tries to put the bag in the thing or whatever. And the woman tells him it's too big and she's like, we'll check it for you or whatever. He has no choice but to do it. And it was already a barcode saying that it needs to be checked. Anyway, so he realizes that Ethan switched out the bags or whatever. The cop, one of her agents call her and they figure out that these guys are trying to kill a politician. It's this woman that has been against a lot of laws that they want to be passed, so they're trying to take her out and everybody with her. Ethan finds out that the guy is on the DC flight instead of the New York one, and he rushes to get on the plane so he can disarm him. But before he leaves, he tells Nora to tell the cop not to ground the plane, that he was going to get on the plane and he was going to disarm the weapon. At first, the cop is like, why would I believe him? But then she ends up listening to him. Ethan gets on the plane and finds the weapon. He's about to disarm it, but it alerts the man that it is being tampered with manually. So he gets up and he goes down into the plane where all of the bags and stuff are so he can handle Ethan. He ends up shooting Ethan. And he gets the bag, but Ethan took the toxin out before he's able to, and he puts the bag inside this like container thing that they may use to keep something in check, I guess. I don't know. It was a container that he put it in. The guy opened the container, gets the bag. Ethan ends up pushing him inside the little container, and he pushes the toxin in there too, and he presses his back up against it while the man is struggling to get out. The man ends up getting killed by the toxin. And the plane lands back at the airport after the pilots tell the people that control the planes that it was 2 passengers in the little thing where they keep the bags. So the plane lands. The cops try to arrest Ethan, but the lady cop tells them to let him go. Everybody gets off the plane. The cop, Ethan and Nora meets back up. He's shot, so they give him medical attention. So the cop tells Ethan basically like congratulates him for saving everybody and then tells him to call her when he gets patched up. And I guess it kind of ends right there, but then it goes to an end credit scene where Ethan, Nora, Jason, and his family are going on a trip to Tahiti a year later. And Ethan puts his badge inside the little basket. So I guess that means he ended up going back to the academy. This movie was really good to the point that I had to keep reminding myself to take notes so I wouldn't forget nothing. Like, I was all into the TV. It was action packed. Like, it was a lot going on, but at the same time, it made sense. It was a lot of moving parts, but they made it seamless. Like, I love movies like this. It was so dope to me. This is the best one that I've watched in this challenge. But if y'all have seen it, let me know what y'all think about it. And if y'all go see it after seeing this review, come back and let me know what y'all think about it. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what y'all think about my review. Like, I really loved this movie. It was really good. Definitely think that it's worth checking out. I think it's already popular on Netflix, if I'm not mistaken. But when I saw the freaking preview, I was like, yeah, I'm putting that on my list. Cause I had 2 other Christmas movies on my list, but then I ended up coming across these other movies. So I was like, okay, I'm about to put these on my list instead. And I'm not regretful of doing that. It was really good. If y'all check it out, just make sure to come back and let's talk about it in the comments. But until then, I will see y'all in the next video. Bye. Before you go, check out my website at srgrahamwrites.org and subscribe to my mailing list to get exclusive updates on works in progress, other news, and blog posts. Thank you.